Hey everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining, whether you're watching or listening here in the United States or abroad. Thank you so much. We are inching our way closer to 500 total episodes in our portfolio. Thank you. It's because of you that we're here. So thank you very much. And if you can give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost. Follow us, keep up to date on our Voices for Voices social media accounts. And if you're able to, reach out to 25 contacts in your phone. Let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We are built on mental health, mental awareness, uh, trauma recovery, all those areas, and many, many more. So thank you again for being with us on this episode. Uh, we're definitely talking about mental health today, as we always do. Sometimes it's more overt, meaning we use the words mental health, and sometimes situations test our mental health, and we talk about that more. But each and every episode has mental health ingrained into each particular episode. Uh, so I'll cut to the chase. First off, o- over here behind me, you see some white hair. So my hair hasn't grown that fast. So our puppy Lucy, she loves to be the watchdog, and so she's just hanging out, recovering from surgery. And even when she's not recovering from surgery, she always likes to get involved. So you might see her throughout the show. Her name's Lucy, and we're glad, actually, very happy to have her part of our family. Uh, with today's episode, we've had rocky weather here, up and down, up and down. How do we dress? What can we do outside? What can we do inside? And so, as I mentioned on the earlier episode, not just our grass, but many people's grass in the neighborhood and other neighborhoods is like super, super tall for grass. And, we talk about, well, once you get started, you have to kind of keep up. So here we're in April, and so we got to keep up. And so that is one of my chores is to do that. And so this is going to cross mental health in a couple different ways. The first way is we talked earlier on an earlier episode about, worrying about, the next day, the next moment, what's going to happen. And given where our dwelling is at, it's on a hill. It's not a mountain. It's it's not. Uh, but there's definitely some hillage going on there. And so it can be tricky because when I was growing up, in the summers that I was home from college, I worked at a local golf country club, and that was part of our job was mowing the grass. And if you know anything about golf, there's the tee boxes, then there's the rough, which is longer. The tee boxes, the fairways are cut very, very short. The greens, where the flag is, where the hole is, where you're trying to get the ball from the tee to the green into the hole in the least amount of strokes. So it is I want a lower score as opposed to a lot of other sports where you want a higher score. So I've had a lot of experience mowing grass, and Uh, so to bring that home here, uh, with the grass being how it is, it's not only tall, but it's waterlogged in some places. We've with the weather that I've described. I mean, like I said, we've gotten some monsoon, just storms, and there's so much rain and more than the ground can handle. So it's a little slushy in places. Anyways, so I today's the day to get started. And so one thing I'd like to recommend that I've learned is no matter because I'm not going to judge how big your yard is or and if you don't have a yard, you don't have grass, then you don't need to worry about this. You could maybe recommend to somebody who does, but this particular area won't pertain to you as much. And that is, well, first off, the mowing the grass, having a lawn mower or a way to cut the grass, whether it's a walk behind, or whether it's a riding mower, and then you have the weed eater, then you have the blower, and so there's a lot going on. Uh, and so the way I have usually chosen to cut the grass here is in sections or in parts. Let's give you an example. Uh, I have we have gas powered cars. Uh, we have electric powered lawnmower, right? So you got to charge. So the batteries we had two batteries. They're all 100, both of them were 100%. So put them in the slot, close it up, got started, and just doing one, two, three, four, probably half, maybe, or a little less than half, because our backyard is probably it's not huge, but again, it's on the hill, so and we have a few trees, so it takes a little bit to go around that versus just a flat yard where there's no hills. It's just back and forth. There's no trees or few trees. That's the ideal, right? I mean, that's what people in the neighborhood when they have that, it's like, all right, well, yeah, you mow your grass more recent, but you also have a flat yard and we don't. So cut it into pieces, into sections, get everything. And if it's the gas powered mower, make sure that fill it up at the beginning. And it's up to you to go as long as you want. Uh, I recommend sections because uh, I don't I don't get as much I would say as much exercise as I should. And so first off, there's that of back and forth, up and down the hill. Now there's also the tall grass. And then now we also have places that are waterlogged. And and so I kind of divided it into sections and I guess like the two sections that I did, which is we have like two kind of smaller front yard areas that are on either side of the driveway. So I cut the grass on one of those and then one of the sides with the hills. And I knew that I was going to be doing sections. So after I finished those areas, a couple times the mower stopped because there was so much grass that the blades are, trying to cut and no, I don't say spit out, but however it does its thing, however the lawnmower does its thing. And and so there was a few times that happened. Okay, big deal. But all this is happening, mental health wise. It's like, are my lines straight? Well, if I look at my neighbors, like, well, they have really straight lines, but when they're mowing, and all those things come to mind. I don't worry about it as much as I probably used to. I mean, when I was at the golf course, that was there was really no exception there. Like, you had to have straight lines. That was pretty much what uh what you had to have. And so we had, a good group of people, and the superintendent would, he'd come in every day, and he would tell us what we were be working on first thing in the morning. So usually it was two things a day at least. So, the morning, at least part of the morning was greens, tees, uh, fairways, and if the fairways were longer and taking longer, then the individuals that would finish their assignment, their tees or their greens, they would be asked to go help out with uh, with the fairways and then with the rough, the taller grass. Uh, so all this is kind of getting to my mind. It's bringing back memories every time I mow the grass. Uh, my mind, it's hard not to go back to those times, and I had some good times. I had some not so good times uh, because I was so worried many times when I was mowing the greens uh, that I would get reprimanded. And like I was trying so hard, but I just it just wasn't my specialty. Some people like that's just how they're ingrained. For me, I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed. I don't know why. Uh, so that creeped into my mind as I'm mowing the grass current state. And lines aren't straight, doesn't matter. It's just getting the job done. There's still areas that need weed eated. Uh, and so it's gonna be a process here for, the first mow of the year. Uh, but like I said, there's two batteries in our lawnmower here. And just doing those kind of two sections, one of the batteries is still at full capacity. So I think there might be like four or five different cells, and one of them has all the it lights up for all those, and then the other one uh was down to one cell. So I thought, okay, well, um, I'm gonna take a break. Uh, you know, there's no there's no deadline in stone that everything needs mowed at a certain time. We're just trying to, get things going, and then hopefully that the mowing just becomes an easier thing to do. Because if we keep up on it, then we should be good good space. But additionally, mental health. So not only the the kind of the flashback trauma of then in one of those years, one of those summers was one of the ones where when I had overdosed on the cold and cough medicine. And so uh that creeps into my mind as well. Um, it's just one of those things, talking to my counselor, it's it's pretty fairly or pretty normal for that to happen. Like if you're listening to a song and you hear it, sometimes a song can take you back to a place where maybe it was a school dance, maybe it was a wedding reception, uh, maybe it was driving in a car. Uh, I don't know, but these things, our brain doesn't usually forget those, and definitely keeps the score. So we have that portion. And then the second portion, as I'm bringing the mental health into just a regular day. Uh, mhm. So I take different medications for my mental challenges. Big deal. I've been taking them for um, 6, so it's going on 9 years. And some sometimes medications change, sometimes different dosages, like maybe you're taking 10 milligrams and then maybe and you're taking five at a certain point, or maybe one doesn't seem to work as well as it did. And so maybe your provider, my provider decides, hey, let's try here, here are the similarities of what these particular medications help. And up until now, um, I haven't had too many restrictions, on things I can eat and that. I mean, obviously, alcohol and drugs, like that's a no for sure. Uh, one of the medications, I think it was last year that got changed. And I remember back in my first therapy right out of the hospital because people talk, right? So some of us would sit and I think it was like college football was on sometimes and we would just sit and I mean, there's a lot of us and we're all going through a lot of things. And someone would say, "Oh, I can't eat grapefruit with this medication." So, meaning that on the label, there was a notification saying, while taking this medication, please refrain from eating grapefruit. Okay. And so it was all the way back all those years when that happened. But it wasn't until last year with one of my medications that I actually see that on mine. And I usually don't, I don't say usually, I don't, I very rarely, if ever, have had a grapefruit to eat or the juice. And so I saw that on the label and I was like, okay, so here's, I, for some reason, if I'm somewhere and there's grapefruit being served, I can't eat it. I don't, for me, I personally, I don't care for the taste. That's okay. That's just me. Everybody has their own distinctions and things they like and things they don't, and so that wasn't a huge deal. Um, when I was going through my therapy, I was also battling rapid weight loss. And so another part of my therapy was making sure that I was at least starting to re-eat. And so the medication started to clear just a little bit of space where I didn't feel like I was allergic to every food that I ever tried when I hadn't been allergic. Allergies can come up at, I think, any time. But I was at that point where I was like, I can eat carrot sticks and plain hummus. That's all. And so eating was a big deal. Getting nutrients in my body was a big deal. So I was, drinking Ensures uh, twice a day, I think. When I got finished with the therapy, I was doing good. So it was recommended I could, since I was replacing some of the calories with real food, which I should have been doing anyways, I they said I could take one. And so that's what I did for quite a while. All of this to get to the point of one of my medications got changed. It was either late 2025 or real early 2026. And part of my diagnoses and that is, acute anxiety and depression and so when I saw the grapefruit thing on the one medication, I was like, all right, I'm at least seeing it, but it doesn't bother it doesn't matter because I don't eat grapefruit, I don't drink the grapefruit juice. Uh so that didn't really affect me at all. If anything, it was just kind of like, hey, FYI, you can't or you shouldn't do this. So again, now with another medication, late 20, again, it was either late 2025 or early 2026. One of my medications I got changed to had now has because I mean, still taking the one with the grapefruit restriction and the other one that I started, it was bringing up, salt, like make sure I'm gonna have to look and see exactly what it says. But it's something like, make sure you're hydrated, make sure you're, that this can affect, salt levels, so, minerals in your system. And I was like, oh, now that's a little bit different because salt's in food. And uh, so I need to make sure in this case not to let my salt levels get too low. And so whether an electrolyte beverage uh, is usually how I try to at least have those particular salts, like the hydration. Um, and so how's that get into the mowing the grass? Well, you when you're doing any type of physical activity, the more you do it, the longer you do it, a lot of us perspire or sweat. In our sweat are the very salts and minerals that are in these electrolyte beverages, like Pedialyte or Gatorade. And so now I have to actually be more cognizant of times when there's no light that blinks that says, "Okay, Justin, your salt level's too low." I just have to do the best I can. And so that was another reason why it makes a lot of sense to me to, as we're talking about mowing the grass or doing a physical activity, being outside for a while, uh, and not having access to water. Uh, I just have to make sure I'm hydrated. And so that falls in that into that bucket of, okay, let's just take breaks and we'll do it that way. And then in between, during my breaks, what if it's a meal time, then I'll eat. If it's not, maybe I'll get a snack, but I'll have a electrolyte beverage that will help replenish some of the salts and the minerals that when I sweat, perspire, can leave. And so kind of have to basically like replace, right? So it's like a store. You buy product A, let's say you have 10 of them on the shelf. Well, do you wait till all 10 are bought before you order another set of 10? Or do you wait till there's five or six that have been bought or purchased? Uh, so that's replenishment of a product. And so with the salt, it's replenishing my body with the salts and minerals that one of my medications kind of pulls out extra. And the label doesn't say during physical activity, it just says in general. So sometimes I'll drink a Gatorade or Pedialyte, and even if it's not a time when I'm exerting myself physically. So that's how I tie this back to mowing the grass. So hopefully this has been a little bit informative uh, to you. Again, if you're able to, free things to do are give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost, follow us on all our social medias. We'd love to have you part of our community even more. And if you can reach out to 25 contacts in your phone, let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We would greatly appreciate that. All of those I just mentioned, they cost $0 and 0 cents. However, if you are able to donate dollars and cents and you're here in the United States, you head on over to lovevoices.org. That's ORG, and you can donate. And all of your donations or purchases in our merch shop of our books, yeah, if you're here in the United States, all that it's considered donations. So 100% tax deductible for you here in the United States. If you don't live in the United States, just check with your tax provider. Uh, well, ask them the question, see what they say. I would think that there'd be similar regulations or laws in place, but I'm no expert on it. I just know here in the United States. So thank you for joining us. We love having you with us. We love coming to you, whether you're watching or listening, you're here in the United States or you're abroad. Thank you so much. And again, have a great day. Let's celebrate the voices of everyone in the world. And let's be a voice for not only ourselves, but somebody else who may need a little boost and a little help themselves. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.